Story time about my mom caught me doing it with my neighbor. This all happened 10 years ago. I was 7 years old. Okay, here's the thing. My dad had left my mom and I for another woman. So I was always desperate for like male attention. And looking back, this is so terrible, especially for a teenage girl. New neighbor had moved in that summer. And let me tell you, I was obsessed from the moment I saw this boy. I became so obsessed because his window was right across from mine. It was like a movie. He would see me changing, I would see him changing. Of course, I never told my mom. And then my mom actually became friends with his mom. So they started coming over for dinners, and they were both single moms, so they connected on that too. Now, this boy didn't go to my school though, so we basically only saw each other whenever we were home. Okay, here's where things get messy. He had a girlfriend at his school. This did not stop him from flirting with me. He would stand in his window changing, and because he would come over to my house, he'd come up to my room and we'd just hang out. Both of our moms had a little too much wine one night, and he came up to my room and closed the door. As soon as he closed my door, I knew something was gonna happen. He asked me if I wanted a back massage, and I was like, yeah. As he's giving me this massage, he starts asking me why I don't have a boyfriend. And that's when I told him that I'm probably gonna get a boyfriend very soon, which is a total lie. See, I don't like anybody at my school. And that's when he told me that he would be really jealous if I got myself a boyfriend. So I turned around and told him, but you have a girlfriend, so you have no business getting jealous. That's when he grabbed my face and started kissing me. We made out for like half an hour while both our moms are passed out on the couch downstairs. I knew I needed to snatch him away from his girlfriend. What I did next is crazy. Once he started kissing me, we could not stop. I knew he had a girlfriend and I wanted to steal him away from her. So I thought, why not just do it with him so that he would leave her and be with me? That's when I took off his shirt, he took mine off, and things went from there. Let me just remind you that our moms are downstairs sleeping on the couch. Our hearts were racing and we were trying to do it as quickly as possible. By the way, I'm still a virgin at this point, and I just decided right then and there that I would just do it with him. I was being reckless as hell. That's when I hear footsteps coming up the stairs. We jump off each other and we just pretend we're talking. It was his mom coming to tell him that they were going home. My plan worked though. He started messaging me nonstop, and he even blew off his girlfriend that same week to be with me. Told him we could do it the following day if our moms weren't home. His mom went out to run some errands, so I asked my mom to go run me an errand. Evil much? I told him to come over and it happened. And no, it was not good. It was actually terrible. Neither of us knew what we were doing and it hurt like hell. But after that, he was obsessed. Anytime my mom left my house, he would try to come over. One of the times he came over, he asked me if he should break up with his girlfriend. And I said, yeah, you probably should. Duh. He literally called her right then and there and told her that he didn't want to be with her anymore. Then he turns to me and asks me if I want to be his girlfriend. Just to make him more obsessed, I said no. I told him I wasn't ready for a relationship. Then he started begging. He couldn't believe I said no. But this is when we both mess up. We start doing it. I started doing the dirty, but I didn't realize that my mom was home. My mom was supposed to be at work, but apparently she came home early because she felt sick. So while me and my neighbor are upstairs full on doing the dirty, my mom is downstairs making lunch. That's when the door blasts open and it's my mom holding my lunch. I have no clothes on my bed. There was no way my mom was gonna buy that we were just hanging out. My mom throws the plate of food at my neighbor. He tries to calm my mom down and tells her that he's in love with me. By the way, I was not in love with him. I mean, I liked him, but I wasn't in love. I didn't know what to do, so I just started to cry. Suddenly, my mom calmed down. I have no idea what got into her, but she politely asked him to put on his clothes and leave. As he was getting dressed, my mom told him not to tell his mom anything, that we would keep this a secret. Once he leaves, my mom confesses to me that his mom and her are in a relationship. So I didn't even know that my mom swung that way. Then she asked me if I loved him. I had to lie and tell her that I did, so that she wouldn't find out the truth, that I only did it with him so that he could break up with his girlfriend to be with me. My mom gave us her blessing so that he and I could go out. Like I said, this was 10 years ago. Of course, he and I are no longer together, but my mom is still with his mom, so I see him all the time. He still begs me to be with him. Just broke up with my boyfriend, so I think I might give him a chance now. I mean, I did lose my V card to him, but he cheated on his girlfriend to be with me, and he's clingy. Do you guys think I should give him a chance?
Been cheated on in almost every single relationship that I've been in, and let me just tell you, the damage is at his gun. And then people want to know why. Theory, why do you have so many issues? Theory, why are you so crazy? If we're gonna be anything, baby girl, let's be for real. Let's break this down. My very first relationship, I was so like in love with him. I've had a crush on him since all through middle school. So in high school, when I pulled him, I was like, yes girl, do it. Little did I know the damages that he would do, because he played the living hell out of me. But like, he would tell everyone in the world that like we weren't together. Okay, all my friends are like, Theory, he's playing you, this and the third. And I was like, no, he's not. Like, he told me that he literally likes me, he loves me. I believe him. Like, shut the up, you don't know shit. So that one really broke my heart, and I was actually stuck on him for like a very, very long time, because like I just wanted to be loved by somebody. I didn't have no daddy. Like, I really wanted to just be loved. So then my next relationship comes around. So I really like this boy, and turned out he effed all my friends. And fuck all those people from high school, because honestly, like, I complained and cried to most of them when I found out he was cheating on me, and it was y'all bitches that were doing it. And this girl was like, do you date this person? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, we're going on a date. And like rubbed it in my face. And I was like, the fact that like these girls have no self-respect, been there, trust me, I can tell y'all some stories and y'all gonna be like, Theory, like, you are a bad person. Everyone always left me for a girl because I wouldn't give it up, but like, who do I look like giving it up to y'all? Like, I asked a guy, he said, let me do this, and I said, why? And I said, because you love me. Bitch, what? Like, I didn't say that. I like you, but I don't love you. If you think that you can sit there and try and manipulate and gaslight me to do something I don't want to do, baby girl, you need to get checked. Like, if we're gonna be anything, let's be for real. In high school, I was in like 6 relationships in the past year and a half. And when I say every single one of them cheated on me, instead of giving myself a break, I was just searching for love. And that is a freaking problem. So then I got into this one relationship, loving relationship. It was really good. I slightly deteriorated really slowly in this relationship when it came to my body and my confidence. And that is honestly because instead of me trying to be myself, I was always trying to be someone my partner was attracted to. So basically, homegirl did not want to be herself. Homegirl wanted to be the girl that her man was attracted to. This person has bought people's OnlyFans. This person had other pictures of other people on their phone. Like, it was just very, very toxic. And I don't want to sit here and blame other people for my issues, my ED, my BD. But if we're going to be freaking for real, let's be for real. It's hard for a woman like me that is looking and searching to be loved so freaking badly by someone. I crave your love and attention so bad that I try to be the person that you are mostly attracted to so that I can feel loved. Like, what? Isn't that sick? That is sick in the head. Like, girl, if you're gonna do anything, get some help. Like, stop searching for these men. These men do not love you. And this is no shade to my past relationship, because he did not cheat on me. If it wasn't for the relationship that I am in now and my breakup in my past relationship, I probably would have still hooted and hollering and trying to find love. And let me tell you, I actually sat there and dated myself, learned myself, and actually had a relationship with myself. And now I'm capable of dating people without having that issue. And I was not a perfect peach in high school. I was insane, but it's okay. We live and we learn, and growth is a thing. So just take time.
This is the story time of the man that changed my life and made me a better woman. Listen, I did my podcast episode this week and I talked about like the one that got away, and you can go watch that on like my YouTube channel or Midday Matcha streaming platform. But I'm going to tell you the reality of the one that actually got away. The man that I let slip through my motherfucking fingers and I never should have, and I regret it every day since. This man presented me with like the biggest blessing in my life, but also the biggest curse ever. This all happened when I was 19 and I saw a man like walking on the street. I was with my friends and we were headed to a party, and I saw this man, and without hesitation, I was fresh out of a breakup, mind you. I'm like fresh out of a breakup. I see this man without hesitation. I'm like, I'm gonna fuck you tonight. Not hello, hi, how are you? Just straight up like, I'm taking you home with me tonight. Obviously, I was drunk and I was heartbroken. I just don't do that with every man I see on the street these days. But maybe I fucking should. Go balls to the walls insane. Honestly, I need a little bit of spice in my life. Heartbroken, I'm drunk. To make matters worse, I'm like, not only am I gonna sleep with you, all my friends are too. They're like, Livy, shut up, because nobody's doing that. He was laughing and he was like, oh wait, like, I like you. Like, give me your phone number and we'll text and we'll talk. And I was like, yeah, we will. So I got his phone number. I went about my night. And I went to the party, like, had a time, and I didn't really text him till the morning. Keep in mind, at this point, I am 19 years old. I wake up with text from him, like, were you so serious about last night? Like, what was that? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm heartbroken. I fucking invented City Girl Summers at that point. I was like, I just ended things with my ex. I need to get under somebody to get over somebody. It's like, perfect. I booked this hotel room for us. And at 19 years old, when a man books a hotel room for you, you're like, wait, no, he's my soulmate. Like, what? Like, reality sets in. I'm like, wait, what if this motherfucker, like, kidnaps me or, like, kills me? Like, this is a little bit terrifying. But for some reason in my soul, I just knew I needed to go. I just needed to explore what I saw on the street the other night that was really calling me to him. I go, bitch, we had a night. The best night of my entire life. I could cry thinking about it. That man did things to my body I didn't even know was possible. It was the best sex of my entire life. Like, so good that I woke up in the morning and I was like, the birds are chirping. I swear to God, I became a better woman. I kid you not. I called my mom. I was like, I love you so fucking much. Like, you're the best. Like, I was just like texting my friends. I'm so grateful for all of you. Just like, the birds are chirping. I'm like, life is beautiful. Life has never been so amazing. Like, sex that good that it really has you out there just like, oh, I love the world. Like, oh my god, I love it here. So good, I contemplated getting on like one knee and marrying the man. Mind you, I'm still in college. I had to head to my 8 a.m. class. I probably walk in my 8 a.m. class. I'm like, oh, I am so sorry. I am late. Mind you, I'm in like heels. I have makeup all over my face. I have shit everywhere. But I'm like, but how are we all doing this morning? Like, I'm in a chipper fucking mood. They're all just like looking at me like, wait, what? Like, I went to art school, so they're like, first of all, why is Livy so chipper and in heels at 8 in the morning? And all my friends knew I had just got like fucked. And they were like, how was it? I was like, you guys, it's too good. I remember calling my mom after class and like telling her about it, and she was like, Olivia, you don't understand. Like, men like that don't come around often. Like, you need to hold on to him. Like, you don't get this. This doesn't just happen. And I'm like, yeah. A couple weeks later, my ex wants to get back together, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah. So I basically leave the man of my dreams for my ex because I was in love. And I hate myself for it every day. That man ruined sex for me for the rest of my fucking life. Because nobody, quite literally nobody, has even came close to taking me into another outer dimension that this man did. And this topic has been such a big topic between my friends and I because the girls get it. Like, the girls that know they have had that man that, like, just really changes their life. They're like, you're just, like, never gonna have sex like that good again. And also, there was, like, this porn star in my DMs, and I don't know, it somehow, like, brought about this where I was like, you guys, I'm quite literally never going to be fucked the way that man fucked me, and it, like, genuinely upsets me. The thing is, you're probably like, Livy, oh my god, you're being so dramatic. Like, how good could it have been? Like, you're being so dramatic. You guys, I wish I was being dramatic. Like, you think I want to live like this? Every time I sleep with someone new, I'm like, oh, wasn't him, never will be. This is just below average. Man had me waking up the next morning being like, I should donate to charity. Like, I should really just donate to charity. Fuck it, I should start my own charity. Like, he just made me a better woman. I kid you not. And the girls that have been fucked like that, they get it. Like, they get it. And, like, it's so rare and it's so hard to find, but it's been, like, the main topic of my friend group this week, and I just was like, I need to share it with you guys, because, like, when I tell you I fumbled the bag, I fumbled it, and I have to fucking live with that, because I chose my loser ex over this amazing man. Like, honestly, I don't even know if he's, like, an amazing man, but, like, that was. The thing is, I know you guys are probably like, well, Livy, just, like, call Taylor up. Like, why don't you just call Taylor up? You think my ex heard about what I did and didn't make me block that man's number and, like, forever erase him from my entire life? Honestly, I feel like he could, like, be living next door to me, and I probably wouldn't even know it was him. But, like, this man is the reason, like, I do not like doing casual sex, and I won't do casual sex, because even the men I sleep with, I'm like, it will never be him. It'll just never be him. I love that man like nobody can. Watch or listen to my podcast episode to hear about the other man that I, like, low-key fumbled the bag with. Not as bad as this one, but...
I, 41 male, missed the birth of my daughter to attend my first child's 24 female wedding. I, 41 male, had my first child, Amanda, 24 female young, and despite plans to marry her mom, Betty, 45 female, it didn't work out. After Betty moved away, she took Amanda with her, and since she had primary custody, I didn't get to spend as much time with her as I wanted for years. It got better when Amanda was in her teens, but I could tell that she always resented the fact that I wasn't around like all the other dads at her school. It started getting worse when I married my wife, Tiffany, 35 female, and she was the only woman I had brought around Amanda and didn't like how I didn't always give her my full attention. Again, I tried everything I could to reassure Amanda that I still loved her and wouldn't marry anyone who tried to make me choose between them and her. Unfortunately, Amanda tried to stage a breakup between Tiffany and I, and that's when I finally decided to try family therapy, but Betty didn't make it easy. For the longest time, Tiffany was very patient and understanding, but after we got married, she started being more vocal about how I had a habit of dropping plans with her in favor of Amanda. Tiffany told me that when it comes to emergencies, she expects me to choose my daughter over her, but doesn't like how I will cancel at the last minute to run off with Amanda with her mom, and that if things didn't change, she would rather just get an annulment. After numerous talks, I began putting my foot down more with Amanda, and she would either accuse me of abandoning her or just give me the silent treatment. This included missing therapy appointments. It took a lot of work, but I was able to find a nice balance between Tiffany and Amanda, and I thought all was good. It was agreed that anything I had scheduled with Amanda would come before whatever Tiffany wanted to do on that same or near time, and vice versa. I was so excited when Amanda told me that she was getting married and wanted me to walk her down the aisle. I'd saved the date and everything. Unfortunately, about a few weeks after confirming of RSVPing, Tiffany discovered that she was pregnant, and the estimated delivery date was in the same month as Amanda's wedding. I panicked and took a while to muster up the courage to inform Amanda of the situation. When I did, the first thing she said was that she wasn't going to change her date and reminded me that I had agreed to come to her wedding before realizing that Tiffany was pregnant.
Amanda's wedding was about a 3-hour drive from where I lived, so if Tiffany went into labor while I was at the wedding, it would take a while for me to get there. I agonized over this for weeks before making the decision to attend the wedding and just hoped that the baby wouldn't arrive on that exact date. Tiffany said she was understanding, but my mother-in-law and sister-in-law took turns chewing me out over it. On the day of the wedding, I got a text that Tiffany went into labor early and to get back ASAP, but it was literally 30 minutes before I was supposed to walk Amanda down the aisle. I told Betty and she said that if I leave now, Amanda was prepared to go full no contact with me. Knowing that labor can take hours, I took the risk of staying long enough for the ceremony and then left. I went as fast as I could, but there was an accident which slowed down the traffic, and by the time I had arrived, my second daughter, Kelly, was born. I apologized profusely, but Tiffany wouldn't hear any of it, and I received several texts from different people telling me that Amanda was angry with me as well. I just don't know what to do.
Okay, so I have to tell you guys a story because I don't know if you guys have seen the new Chick-fil-A bags, but they got me good. So the other day, Jake and I were going through the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, and there's a giant window, so you can sit inside the Chick-fil-A and see out to the drive-thru. So the drive-thru can also see into the Chick-fil-A, if that makes sense. So we're sitting in the drive-thru, I'm looking in the Chick-fil-A, watching all the people eat their food, and there's this cute mom and like child sitting in the window, and their bag has this like writing on it. And Jake noticed at first, he was like, Courtney, does that lady's bag say help me? And I was like, wait, what? And sure enough, I look and it says help me in like a really graphic writing. And it was perfectly facing the window, like almost like she set it up, said help me, and her and her child are just eating lunch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen so many videos on this, like we gotta go help her, but also like, is that real? Because part of it did look like the Chick-fil-A writing. I was like, why does that look like their little cow wrote it? Like, I'm sorry, it does, but at the same time, who would put help me on the bag? And under help me were 2 more words. So I was like, we need to figure out what those other 2 words are, and that will tell me if it was Chick-fil-A or if this woman actually needs help. But we sat there and I'm just watching. I was like, do I go in? Do I say something? We're pulling up. We start ordering our food, okay? And I just was like, Courtney, this is your time. I was like, if you don't help this woman, you won't sleep. Like, if you go in there and she actually needs help, like, you will not sleep at night. You will not be okay. I was like, but if you go in there and it's a freaking Chick-fil-A writing, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be awkward. I'm gonna be like, oh, I thought you needed help, you know? But I said, you know what? I'm gonna take my chance. I can't sleep if this woman actually needs help. I've seen way too many stories where they're like, they do stuff like this, they pass a note, you know, and I'm like, I have to be there. I have to help her. So I get out of the car mid-drive-thru. Jake's like, I'm like, no, gotta get her. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm gonna go help this woman. And he's like, what are you gonna do? I was like, you know what? I don't know. And then that's when it hit me. I'm like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Like, is, you know, someone here? Like, I'm like, what? I'm not, like, am I gonna fight that? Like, I'm like, no, you're not. But I was ready. But I was ready to help her. I said, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna help this woman. So I run in there. I have the whole thing. I'm like, okay, if this is not help, I'm just have to go to the bathroom. I was like, oh, sorry, I had to go to the bathroom. But if it is help, then we'll make a game plan. Her and I will sit down, we will make a game plan. Anyway, I go in, I walk in, I look to my left. I see all the Chick-fil-A orders. Sure enough, they have all the freaking help me, something writing on them. What kind of marketing is that? I was ready to defend this woman to my grave. I was ready to go in, say, we gotta get out of here. But all it was the Chick-fil-A, it's like an ad. And I said, no. So then of course I'm like, oh, just, you know, did my little bathroom skit, went to the bathroom, and then I got back in my car and Jake was like, so was everything okay? And I was like, yeah, it's just the cow from the Chick-fil-A that wrote that. So we're good.
My mother-in-law ruined my wedding. I'm sitting here in my bridal suite bawling my eyes out right now. My wedding party is doing their best to try and find a replacement dress, but I just needed to write this all out and see what random internet strangers can suggest. To make things easier, I'll call my future mother-in-law Karen and my fiancé will be Lee. Lee and I have been together for 5 years and engaged for about 18 months. I met him my senior year of college / his first year of grad school. I met his family a year into dating and they seemed great. Karen was always very friendly to me and I never had any issues with her. Lee and I even lived with her and his dad during the entire summer 2 years ago after our adjustment lease was up and we were waiting for our house to be finished being built. There were never any arguments, we had our privacy, and we regularly enjoyed family outings together. Lee and I decided to hold our wedding near the town where we met. I have a friend from college who is from here and her family has a large estate with an old farmhouse that is the perfect location for our wedding. We have been planning for well over a year and today was supposed to be the best day of our lives. But Karen has ruined it. On Thursday Karen, Lee's dad, and Lee's siblings / their spouses arrived in town. We had booked a block of rooms at the nicest hotel in town and were under the impression everyone had made reservations. Turns out, Karen and Lee's dad expected to stay on the estate. I don't see how this happened, since when we reserved the estate and secured the block of rooms, I provided hotel information to everyone, Karen, Lee's dad, siblings and spouses, at family dinner. Karen asked if she and Lee's dad would be staying at the estate and I told her that the estate only had the one house and we would be using it to get ready / stay at Thursday to Sunday. Anyway, when they got here Thursday and didn't have a room, we scrambled and decided to give them the house. Thursday night while Lee and I ended up crashing with my friend whose family owns the estate. No big deal, except Karen refused to get a hotel room yesterday morning because the hotel where we blocked rooms is sold out. Lee gently told her that she and his dad cannot stay at the house again because last night my wedding party stayed here and we were getting ready this morning, and didn't need to worry about Karen and his dad, but he didn't tell her this. So Karen started crying and I told her I would find another place for them to stay where there would be other guests. We found another room for them at the second nicest hotel in town, got them a larger, corner room, and even covered the cost for last night and tonight. Last night my 4 best friends arrived and after the rehearsal and dinner we piled up on the couches, watched movies, ate popcorn, and enjoyed a few cocktails at the estate house. At 8:30 this morning, I was woken up by my mother who had tears in her eyes. I thought something had happened to my grandfather since he's recently been diagnosed with cancer and isn't expected to live out the rest of the year. Instead, she told me that somehow my wedding dress had been destroyed and there was no way to salvage it. My dress was literally cut into strips. My veil had been ripped to shreds. There's nothing salvageable. I put the dress bag in the master bedroom closet when Lee and I arrived on Wednesday evening. I showed it to Lee's sister, sister-in-law, and Karen when they arrived Thursday night. I hadn't looked at it again since. The only people that had access were Karen, Lee's dad, Lee, my bridesmaids, and my mother. My bridesmaids never went into my room last night and my mother would have no reason to do such a thing, so it had to be Karen or her husband. I called Lee, crying, and all I could manage to say was, "Your mother ruined my dress," before handing my phone to my mom to explain. Lee was furious. He called Karen and she hung up on him. When he asked her if she cut up my dress. Then he called his sister and she told Lee he was being ridiculous, saying Karen would never do such a thing. But when he asked her who's could have done it, his sister was at a loss for suspects. My mother, grandmother, and 2 of my bridesmaids have gone into town to try and find a dress. Fortunately my aunt is a seamstress and should be able to make some last-minute alterations if they find a dress. I keep trying to stay positive, but my beautiful dress, the one I imagined marrying the love of my life in, is gone. And Karen. Oh my God, Karen. I don't want to look at her ever again, much less have her be a part of my wedding. I can't bring myself to tell Lee how I feel and he hadn't asked probably because he knows what I'm going to say. I know ask that matters is that today I'm going to marry my best friend dress or not. I would marry him in a bathrobe. But I don't know how to focus on the happiness of the day with Karen there.
I was in middle school when my mom lost custody of myself and my siblings, and that was devastating because it meant that we would be trapped at our dad's house, which was really not the place to be. So what we decided to do, instead of being trapped at our dad's forever, was to sneak over to my mom's after school. Now this was absolutely against the law. She was not supposed to see us, but we didn't care. So we started stopping by there for like an hour after school, and then we could still walk to my dad's and get home before he was off of work. And we did this for a while, and then we realized, probably after he started getting his child support payments, that he didn't care where we were or what we were doing. So we could just go to our mom's basically whenever we wanted. Like, he really only cared about the money, in my opinion. So we start staying at my mom's, but the problem is all of my mom's money is going to child support. She showed me her actual paycheck, and I remember seeing like 8 cents left after subtracting the child support payment. So we're living over there, but she has no money to feed us or clothe us or buy gas or anything. And I have some guesses on what he's doing with the money. They're definitely not us related, right? So what my mom decides to do when things get really bad and we think that we're going to lose our house is she decides to go to a crabbing ship in Alaska, like a deadliest catch kind of ship. And we are supposed to not tell our dad, because if we don't tell our dad, we can keep visiting our moms. And it's not lying if we say, "Oh, I'm going to mom's," because we are going to mom's, but mom isn't there. Instead, you know who's there? A guest appearance from my mom's ex from my entire childhood, who was basically my second mother until she found a church that told her being a lesbian was wrong, so then she could no longer be part of our family. She's back now, and she's staying in my mom's house and like watching over us. She has a little dog. So we just start going to our mom's. Even when my mom wasn't there. She had left on Christmas Day, and we had no contact with her on the ship except for the occasional letter, but they would get lost, and they didn't happen often, right? So I have very little contact with my mom. We keep going to our mom's anyways until about a month in when my dad finds out that we were lying and this was a whole scheme, and he is angry. He yells at us a lot. Even though he was furious, I think that we ended up still going to my mom's because he, at the end of the day, didn't care where we were and like would never call and ask. And if he did call and ask, we would just lie, so. A few months after this, I'd say it's been about 3 months since my mom has left for Alaska. She's supposed to be gone 6 months, I believe. So she has left, and I'm walking home from school when out of the corner of my eye, I see someone who has the dog, my mom's ex's dog. And I look and I was like, who is that? And then they wave. And then I'm like, that's my mom. I was like, Mom, how did you get out of the sea?
My 59 female, son 34 male, is the one responsible for my granddaughter's one female death. I have no idea how to deal with this and move on with my family. I have 2 kids. My daughter's daughter passed due to my son's stupidity. My son Andrew married Alexis 8 years ago, and I by no means am a monster-in-law. Never have been. But Alexis is a nightmare. She is an anti-science, pro-Facebook science. She is awfully entitled and is sinking all the savings in some LMN scheme. And as such, they decided not to vaccinate their kids. They have a 10-year-old son and 6-year-old daughter. A month ago, my daughter Jenny came over with her baby to pick up some of her old things. She decided to stay for coffee and cake. Andrew and Alexis moved right across from us after the lockdown lifted. My husband and I assumed it was because they were planning on using us as free childcare. Anyway, as Jenny was over, Alexis rang the doorbell. Before I could even say hello, her kids came spilling in. They are nice kids, somewhat bratty, but they do have a heart of gold. I love them so much. But because of them not being vaccinated, I don't like having them around the same time as babies. I tried to keep things calm, but the kids had run upstairs to where Jenny's baby was sleeping and were cuddling with her. I managed to get them to calm down, but they had been with the baby for a few minutes. Fast forward a few days. Jenny calls me in tears, telling me her and her fiance are in the hospital because their baby had a high fever and couldn't breathe properly. My husband and I hurried there. Then we spent the most excruciating 17 hours in the hospital that sadly ended with my granddaughter passing away. She had apparently caught whooping cough and her little lungs couldn't handle it. My daughter is absolutely destroyed. I had a stinging suspicion and called my son. I asked him if his kids had been sick. He said they had a nasty cough and a little fever, but that they had managed. I don't know what happened, but I lost it. I just started breathing heavy and crying hard and couldn't say much more but to say that his niece died because of him. He had been calling me and his sister, and we haven't picked up. He has come over multiple times and I have not opened. Tried to calm down and tell myself that it's probable that she caught it from someone else. Only that my daughter hadn't taken out my granddaughter to places with kids for almost a month. Maybe at a supermarket or in a lot, but my husband pointed out that it was likelier she caught it through close contact, and it is possible to catch it outside, but not as likely. I feel so mad, so angry, I don't know what to do. I love my other grandkids, and I feel like they are going to suffer with them as parents. How do we go forward? Jenny's never going to forgive Andrew, and I don't know if I can either.
Story time, but I needed to sneeze first, so give me a sec. Story time about how I got my boyfriend fired from his job because he had a girl coworker. I'm totally toxic. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Instead, I'm on Instagram. Let me start off by saying, yes, I do love my boyfriend. I'm also extremely toxic. And honestly, he is too. Here's a little backstory. We both met when we were dating other people. In fact, he was dating my best friend, and I was dating his best friend. I'm 18 and he's 19. So yeah, we are a little immature. But hey, love is love. After we met, we started secretly hooking up. And then finally, we broke up with them. Now that we're together, none of our friends speak to each other. They've all sided with the other friend. So he and I have been together for 6 months now. He's extremely controlling. He's always checking my Snapchat, my location, always wants to know where I am. So I started doing the exact same thing to him, mostly out of spite. Then I realized he's a little sketchy. He does not want me to have his location. So I started blocking him on Snapchat and Instagram. This drove him absolutely crazy. So much so that he deactivated his Instagram just so that I would feel more comfortable. At first I was like, OMG, he's so sweet, he loves me. But then I just realized this is another manipulation tactic on his part. I needed a way to manipulate him even more. He started coming to my house unannounced. My parents hated this. They told him that he shouldn't be doing that anymore. And he started talking bad about my parents to me. Obviously, this is a big red flag for me. I mean, I can deal with the rest, but talking bad about my parents? Hell no. Well, I was furious with him. He started telling me that my mom was crazy and that she was probably cheating on my dad, and that that's where I learned to be a cheater too. And then he started talking bad about my parents to his parents. So his mom called me and asked me if I was okay with my parents. Guess what happens? I show up to his job, and there he is talking to a girl. A pretty girl. Both work at Abercrombie & Fitch. Can you imagine what she looks like? So I had to get him fired. Well, I show up to his Abercrombie & Fitch job, and I find him talking to a girl. Very pretty girl. I went insane. Pulled him aside and told him that he needed to quit right then and there. That if the tables were turned and I was the one talking to a really cute boy at my job, he would lose it and break up with me immediately. He started telling me that I was overreacting. I was being insecure. Me being insecure? Not him checking my phone every day. By the way, the girl was so nice to me. Came up to me later and said, you don't need to worry about anything. I have a boyfriend and I'm not interested in yours. I did appreciate it. But the way my boyfriend was talking to her was a no-no. So here's what I did. Waited for his shift to end. And I went straight into that Abercrombie and asked to speak to the manager. And that's when I made up the whole story. I told him that this boy that was working there was harassing me and that he kept staring at me and grabbed my arm, which made me feel super uncomfortable and scared. And the cherry on top, I started to cry. And I told him that this wasn't the first time it happened, that the same boy had done it another time. The manager, of course, apologized right away. I left the store. 2 hours later, my boyfriend calls me crying. He said that he got fired and he didn't know why. That All the manager said was that his behavior was inappropriate, and my boyfriend couldn't figure it out. Well, he's never gonna find out that it was me that got him fired. So I begged my dad to hire my boyfriend at his car shop. And my dad did, out of the kindness of his heart. So I made my boyfriend eat all of his dirty words. Not only that, but him working at my dad's car shop allows me to keep an eye on him at all times. You see, I have access to all the cameras. And I also show up whenever I want. But here's the crazier part. Remember the girl that my boyfriend was talking to? She slid into my DMs and told me that I'm pretty. She even asked me to go on a date. I mean, should I?